Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everyone. Let's see who is joining us today, and welcome to the Strategic HR Professional webinar, what I'll call launch our webinar. So hopefully we'd have people who join us in this launch time, wherever you're joining from. Okay, great. Let me just check who is joining us today. That everything is fine. Great. So this is going to be, hopefully I would say about 30 to 35 minutes webinar, and people can always catch up, later on. It will be saved onto the profile. So, right. So David, thanks, David. I think I can hear you now. So that was kind of deliberate. I think we're just sort of waiting for people to join. So we can hear, hopefully you can hear now. Let's see. Hopefully we can hear you now. Brilliant. So Shegun can hear. Fantastic. Great. So thank you all for joining. And if you could just maybe put in the chat to sort of just let me know where you're joining from, I think that would be fantastic. Okay. And hi, Solomon. Hi, everyone. Brilliant. We're good to go now. Fantastic. Okay. So thank you all for joining. I think you probably would work in HR or maybe any other profession, but I think that this class would be fantastic for anyone, regardless of, your profession or where you work. So just a little brief about myself. I Joy Adeyemi. So I work in HR, and I've been in HR for the last, I would say, 16, 17 years. Oh, fantastic, David. Thanks for joining from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm sure it must be really hot in the UK. There was a kind of a little snow here, which was a little bit awkward for April, but good. So I joined, I started to do HR about 16, 17 years ago. And some of the things that I started to learn very earlier on in my career, I would say sort of midway through, was this thing around giving back, the value. Oh, we've got a lot of people from Lagos, the kind of the value that I was adding to HR and some of the things that I was learning or not even learning. And I had this deep hunger to really want to give back to the HR community. And one of the ways that I do that is through HR Design School. So if you follow us on LinkedIn, you would see HR Design School is really focused around empowering and equipping HR professionals with skills to innovate how people experience work. And in simple terms, it just means I want to be able to see HR professionals go into an organization, understand and unpick complex challenges, and be able to design strategies, processes, policies, experiences that make people experience work in a completely different way. Okay, so that's really what HR Design School is there. We have some courses, and we continue to build up on courses. So if you go onto the website, you would find a lot of courses there that you could register for free. There are 2 courses that you could register for free. So feel free, go there. It's about 30 minutes long, just to kind of give you a flavor of some of the things that we do. And over time, we'll be releasing cohort courses that you can join. And I've got something really, really exciting coming up, which I would maybe share at the end of this, or kind of just hold that as a kind of secret. Oh, I've got a lot of people joining from Nigeria. I'm super, super amazed. Amanya is joining from Jos. I actually schooled in my secondary school, boarding school was in Jos. So it's a beautiful, beautiful city. Okay, so let us start this class. So the strategic HR professional. This morning, I posted something on LinkedIn saying, have you ever been given the feedback that you're not strategic enough? Well, I don't know about you, but I have them. I have been given that feedback that I wasn't strategic enough. And it really hurts me because I thought, oh, thanks a lot, Shegun, for sharing. Fantastic. So if we can get more people on here, that would be brilliant. And when I kind of was reflecting, and I thought, what do you mean I'm not strategic? In my mind, I was doing everything right. I was speaking the right speak. I was talking to the right people. I was doing all of that. And so I was kind of just wondering why they were saying that I wasn't strategic. And the more I thought about it, the more confused I was, because I'm thinking, but I was giving a feedback that I wasn't giving solutions. So it's just, here you go, your feedback, kind of find a solution for yourself. And the more I reflected, the more hungry I was to really, right, is the network breaking from my end? Somebody says the network is breaking. Let me see. I may have to turn off some things. Right. Hopefully it works this time. Okay. Thanks, David. So, we and the more that I heard, the more that I started to dig deep, and I just kind of wanted to understand what did they really mean by strategy. What was it that I wasn't doing right? I was kind of doing all the right thing. So let me share with you a definition that I've come up with. Okay. For me, a strategic HR professional, a strategic professional at all, is a professional who learns, understands, and acts based on their understanding of their organization, the ecosystem, and the stakeholders. And now that sounds like a lot of words, but this is what it simply means. It means that whatever organization that you work in, you understand the business because you consciously learn about the business. You understand the ecosystem, and by that I just mean how they operate, almost like their culture, how they interact with each other, and you understand the key stakeholders, both internal stakeholders and external stakeholders. Okay. Now, all of this definition doesn't help if you don't know, but what does that really mean practically? Because I think when we're giving feedback that, oh, we're not strategic, it's kind of very broad. So what does that mean? And some of you may be saying to me, oh, but Joy, I understand strategy. I know these things. I know my business. So why am I not seen as that strategic HR professional? And so here is what I will then break this down for you so that you would know. Now, if you've got any questions, please let me know. Okay. If you've got any questions, please let me know. And also, I'm happy to get somebody on to join me if you prefer to share your questions at all, rather than kind of, sort of type it. Okay. Right. Okay. So let's do this. Unfortunately, I am not able to comment, which is a little bit strange. Let's try and see that. Okay. Not sure why that's not working, but anyway, let's see how that goes. Okay. So you, as a HR professional, you need to be able to understand your business. You need to, and that's through conscious learning about your business, what they do. For example, I work in manufacturing. I constantly learn about the issues that affect manufacturing. I understand my business strategy, the direction of travel, where they're looking to get to, both in the short term and the medium term and the long term, because that's what strategy is about. It's about understanding that long-term view. But one of the most important thing is how you then apply it. So whether you work in the ministry, government organization, I've worked in government organizations before. Oh, fantastic. We've got someone, Jacqueline, joining from Kenya. Brilliant. Whether you work in a government organization, a private sector organization, a not-for-profit organization, wherever you work, the first task to becoming a strategic HR person is really to know the business. What business do they do? How do they do it? What's their ecosystem like? What are the challenges facing that business? And what are the HR imperatives? That's kind of what seals it for you. Okay. So I'm going to go through the detail of what all of this means for us. Okay, so just to summarize that definition, it's really three things. It is an in-depth understanding of the organization that you work in. It's understanding their long-term plan and their direction of travel, where they're looking to get to and how, and it's to understand the implications for HR. So what does that mean for HR? You may understand the business, you may understand the long-term plans. In fact, you may be so conversant with that. But however, if you don't know what that means for HR and how you can ensure that you do the right things to be seen as the strategic partner, all of that, frankly, is just a waste. Okay, you're gathering information, but nothing is adding value. And that was where I started to realize where my own gaps were. I understood the business. I was very, very ruthless with gathering information about challenges facing that particular business. I understood the strategy. There were some things that I was not doing and being. And I'm going to share that with you. Actually, that's the most interesting part of this class. Okay, so now how do you become a strategic HR professional? How do you become that? I'm going to take you through about 7 about things that you can start doing literally today to become that professional. So the first one, remember, this is based on the assumption you understand the business strategy, you know where they're going, you know the challenges facing the business. The first thing to do is to build your visibility through collaboration and building strategic relationships. That's one of the first things that you have to do. If you do a quick reflection of your organization, you need to understand, who are you collaborating with? If in the last few months you've only been exposed to HR people, you have to make a serious change. You have to start talking to business managers. You have to start speaking in the language that they understand. You have to start making them know that you're interested in their business. You have to start doing all of those things with them. That's how you begin to collaborate, and to build relationships. And that's when they will start listening to you, because they would realize that you have so much value to add, and and they need to be talking to you. So when they are thinking of long-term strategic planning, they would be calling you because they know that you have a lot of value. And the reason for that is because you want to be so close to the business, you want to know when things are happening. Because a lot of times things in organizations happen and HR may be excluded, depending on how mature the organization you are is with HR related things, or HR related, there's a perception of HR. So building collaborative relationships, be conscious and be intentional about the kind of people that you engage with. In the current place that I work, I engage with different managers on various things. If there's a project, even if it's a project that I have no idea about, engineering project, I'm like, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? How can I be part of the project? How can I sell my skills? Any forum I find myself in, I participate and I ask questions, because I genuinely want to know. And the more I ask questions, the more sometimes I can challenge them, because I get to bring the HR input into some of their discussions. The more they realize, this is somebody that is a strategic partner and is interested in my business. And I definitely want to maintain relationship with her. The second thing is to become, remember, all of these things we're talking about is the practical, pragmatic stuff about becoming a strategic professional. The next thing is to become a pro at prioritizing. What do I mean by that? I found in my own personal career, and a lot of HR people that I've spoken to, that we are so bogged down doing everything that is thrown at us. We actually don't have time at doing the things that would add value, not just to us, but also to other people and to the business, the things that make us become seen as the strategic partner. And, if you look at your day, what are the top 3 priorities? If your top 3 priorities are not adding value to maybe one of the senior business managers, are not adding value, are not delivering the overall strategic plan or the HR plan, and all of that, or are not adding value to you as a person in terms of developing yourself, then there is a problem. I would question, so what are you doing? Because you should go each week, you should be able to do 3 things. You should be able to do one thing that develops you as an individual. And that could just be thinking time, putting 5-10 minutes to say, I just really want to think. The other thing that you need to do is, if you look at your organization strategy, is there anything you're doing today that is adding value, delivering that particular strategy, whatever that strategy is, okay? Or is there anything that you're doing that is just enhancing the business in one way or the other, whether that's a project, or you're starting something, or you're stopping something. So prioritize, become a pro at saying no. And sometimes the practicalities of prioritizing mean you say no to the things that are no longer adding value. There was a class that I did, actually it's a webinar, and it's on our website, www.hrdesignSchool.com, and there is a website I did on kind of the future, kind of thinking about the future. And one of the 3 key things that I shared there was, we have to learn to forget the past, things that are no longer adding value to you. We have to learn to start maximizing the present. And sometimes in maximizing the present, you're prioritizing things that are no longer adding value. But also you need to leave a small percentage to be thinking of the future. What are the key trends for HR professionals? What are the things that organizations will start looking for? What are the things you think your organization will start looking for? Okay. Some of the things for my current organization, I know what is going to be a big deal for them in the next 6 months, 12 months. And I'm positioning myself through learning, through engaging with the right people, through exposing myself to the right places, through stopping some of the things I'm doing because they're no longer adding value, so that I can be this person that takes that advantage. Thank you, Kolapo. Really, really appreciate you. Thank you. Okay. The next thing is to be ruthlessly selective with how you invest your time. Okay. I know sometimes we say, yes, we work for an organization, we don't have time, but you have to be ruthlessly selective about how you invest your time. This is something that I say to HR professionals, and sometimes HR professionals don't like it. You don't have to be involved in every single HR project. You have to think about which projects maximize and take latch on your skills the most. Which project is really going to add value to you, but also to your organization? What are your key strengths? Actually, and maybe what are your key weaknesses? And therefore, you believe a particular project is going to minimize those and kind of build, more skills. You have to be selective. I don't put my hand for every single project. I put my hand on a few. And those few, trust me, they add a lot of value, to me. So think about it. Think about some of the things that you can do that you've been involved in, and really just think, should I continue doing this? And sometimes when you're asked, you could say, be very, very open and say, oh, actually, I don't want to be involved in this project because I believe that my talent and skill is best used in this other project. And that way you register with the manager that this is a person that completely understands what they want in their careers, and they're kind of doing that. So be ruthlessly selective about how you invest your time, in projects, how you invest your time in the activities within your workplace. Okay, be ruthless about those sorts of things. The other one that I would say is learn the art of intelligent questioning for insights. Don't just ask questions because you want to ask. Ask because these are great questions so that you can have the right answer. I realize that some of the things I've talked about in terms of prioritizing your time, and all of that, I realize that by asking questions, I've been able to save myself a lot of time, so that I can focus on the things that truly add value for myself, but also for the business. I'm going to give you a quick example. I remember joining an organization, and one of the first tasks they said was, oh, we've got these outstanding activities from an audit that was done previous years ago. And I said, okay, that sounds great. And of course, I went action mode because I'm a very action oriented person. So I thought, right, let's deal with this. Let's get resources to it. But then I stopped and I said, could you remind me this particular action or solution, what problem was it trying to solve? And the manager couldn't answer. And he said, I'm not sure. This was kind of done 2 years ago. I've forgotten. And I said, if you've forgotten what problem we're trying to solve, how does me trying to deliver this particular action fix anything? I might as well be, I could be wasting my time and not adding value, at all, for anything. And, and it became very, very clear that, that action was no longer required. And, that was how, we just kind of went away, and that was it. Okay. Can everybody still hear me? I just want to check that everybody can still hear me. Okay. Okay, for some reason, I am not able to chat. So I wasn't sure if people wanted to join. So what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to send an email or a LinkedIn message to Kolapo, I think. Let me use Kolapo as my assistant today. So Kolapo, I'm going to send you the link to the chat or to the live stream. If you could copy that and put that in the chat, fantastic. If you could copy that and put that in the chat, so that if people wanted to join, they can join me in the live stream, and I can pop you on the screen if you preferred that format. Okay. So learn the art of intelligent questioning. Learn to ask questions. Learn to ask why. Learn to ask what. Learn to ask, what exactly is this trying to solve? Do you know what that does? It makes the managers think and reflect. And every time you speak to people and you get them to pause and think about what they're doing, do you know what that does for you? It makes you look like a very smart person, and it makes you sound very strategic. Okay. So those are some of the things that asking very intelligent questions would do. And guess what? You end up saving yourself a lot of time, because you really shouldn't be doing potentially 20% of the task you're doing if only you would be asking the right questions. So let us learn to ask the right questions. So while we're doing this again, could you remind me, what exactly are you trying to achieve with this particular change? what value is it going to add in the business? Can you give me an example of what the next 6 months will look like? If this thing is implemented, what does day one look like? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about that? All of that make you a very well-rounded HR professional. And guess what? You don't need, the only skill you need to question is just the ability to ask the right question and just the ability to listen and be able to form the answers. You don't need anything more than that. I'm thinking of doing actually a free class on just the art of questioning for HR professionals. It's amazing the time that you would save yourself, and all of that. Okay. So that's learn to ask questions, and you be seen as kind of that strategic professional. Another thing is to be solutions oriented. There has been an overkill of solving problems, but the truth is, when you understand the problem is one part, be solutions oriented. Be thinking, how can I add? What kind of solutions can I bring? Every time you think of it, you come up with a challenge, think of a solution. Everywhere you go, I always say, for you to become an innovative HR professional, you have to continue to learn from everywhere you go. For example, did you know that for you to improve your experience of induction, for example, did you know that you could actually learn from hotels? 5-star hotels, some of us have been in 2-star hotels, 3-star hotels. Did you know that you could actually learn from those sorts of experiences how to improve your own HR experience? If you went to Dubai, as an example, for travel, and you came across a very fantastic hotel, the way you were treated, the way you were greeted from the moment you entered into that hotel, and the kind of way that the service was delivered, could you perhaps think of how to transform your onboarding process, so that it mirrors, not exactly the same, what your experience was of the hotel experience? And so that's what being solutions minded is: always thinking of a solution, always thinking of an idea, or being able to gather people together in a room that would come up with collective solutions. So think of solutions when you go. I usually say I manage a large team, but here's something: there, everybody's got different strengths and all of that. But there's something that I found out that I really love about my team, and I have, sometimes from discussion, one-to-one discussion, something that I share. And this is it: every time you come, my team, for example, come to me to discuss anything, I would always say, right, what are the options that you've got? What sort of solutions are you thinking about? And then I would say, if they want me to make a decision, I would always ask them, if you were in a position to make a decision, what decision would you make? And that kind of plays it back to them to sort of think about, what are the solutions? Because that way you build yourself up as an employee to be seen as an MVP, kind of the most valued or valuable player within your team, when you can go to your manager with solutions rather than with problems. Every time you go to your manager with a problem, always have a solution, and make sure your solution is very, is very well thought of. For example, we're having challenges with this. These are some of the top 3 solutions I've thought about. My preferred is this one because of this reason, and all of that. And it's just amazing how you begin to kind of develop yourself in that way. Okay. So think of solutions and all of that. Another thing is to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Okay. Again, this is kind of cliche, but when I mean learn is actually, we'll start with unlearn. Unlearn is to stop doing the things that are not adding value to you anymore. Just stop doing them. Come up with a better way, a quicker way, faster way. If you work within a team, you can learn to delegate. Okay. Learn to delegate to other people. If not, you can learn to make your job easier. You know why? The difference between somebody that becomes strategic over time is time. Time is what makes you become strategic. You don't learn it overnight. It takes time. And it takes time because you're conscientious and you're investing in learning things, in collaborating with people, in focusing on new projects, in looking for new ways of doing things creatively, so that you can be seen as that person who is indeed strategic. All of that at the end of the day is really time. Okay. Things that are no longer adding value, stop doing them. Learn new things outside of even HR. You can learn new ways of doing things, and all of that, you can learn them. Okay. So, and then relearn some of the things you believe are going to add value to you. You can definitely relearn those things. Okay. Now, another thing is to really take calculated risks from proven HR or market data. So this is where kind of your data and insight comes into place. Read books, read HR books, read non-HR books, and make sure that most of the decisions and the risks that you're taking, they are from an informed point of view, where you have fully understood the market, fully understood the business, and you can say, if we go this way, this is what is going to happen, or if we go that way, that's, something else, could happen. And therefore you're giving yourself a range, or you're giving your manager or the business a range of options for them to choose from. Okay, so learn to do all of that. Learn to expand your knowledge. Learn to read HR thing. HR Design School, my commitment and the team's commitment is to ensure that people have knowledge that are non-traditional HR knowledge, because sometimes as HR professionals we probably already know that, but you need something else. Okay, learn to make decisions from a data point of view rather than from head knowledge or gut feel. Sometimes those are good, but there are sometimes you really need something beyond just your gut feel to be able to make fantastic decisions. Okay, and the last one that I've got to share is to master the art of linking your business strategy with the HR outputs. If I asked you today, do you know the top key metrics that HR is being measured on within your business? Maybe you could drop it in the chat. Do you know the top HR metrics? How is your HR service and your HR activity as an individual? How is it being measured? And, does that link to your business strategy? Some examples for some people could be to reduce sickness absence. Is the work you're doing delivering that? Are you constantly checking with managers? For some people, it could be to improve the talent management process within your organization. How familiar are you with talent management process? What are some of the things that you're doing? I can see that I've got Daniel Akorede in the studio. Daniel, I don't know if you wanted to ask a question. I'm happy to bring you on the screen for us to chat. Let me know. I'll kind of let you if you wanted to kind of ask any question, let me know. Okay, so those are some of the things that you do, and this is kind of a whistle, kind of a very quick tour of how I believe that you can begin to build yourself as a strategic HR professional. Okay, Daniel, do you want me to bring you on? Did you have some questions? Is Daniel typing? I'm not sure. Let's see. Yes, Daniel, yes or no? Just put yes or no in the chat. Let's see how that goes. Okay, so those are some of the kind of high-level stuff that I have to share about how to be a strategic HR professional. Starting first with, I can't hear or see anything. That's fine. So I've brought you of your on screen. Let me know if you can hear. Okay. Can you hear now, Daniel? Potentially not. You may have to do some work on your end, Daniel. I can see you. Let's see. Okay, if you send me another chat, just let me know what happened there, just to know whether you can hear. Does anybody have any question? Does anyone have any question? You can put it in the chat for me. Let me know if you've got any questions, or if you wanted to come into the studio so that I can pop you on the screen. It will be good so that I'm not feeling lonely on the screen myself. Okay. So like I was sort of summarizing, learn to understand your business. What kind of business are you in? What does your business do? Do you even know the ecosystem? How are the goods supplied and all of that? Do you know all of that, so that you can begin to build kind of that knowledge. And what that does is every single time you're connecting the dots, what you're doing as a HR professional and what is adding value to the business. And it helps you to then prioritize your tasks to be able to deliver that. And prioritizing your task, I mean, sometimes doing very quickly but effectively the work that you need to do, so that you can quickly move towards the way where the business, you begin to add value to the business. And the more you do this, like I said, becoming strategic takes time. It takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of being visible. It takes a lot of stepping out of your comfort zone. It takes a lot of breadth. And by breadth, I mean developing yourself, your knowledge, your ideas outside of HR, the HR profession, so that you can become that person that is well-rounded. As an example, if you are working with, say, the banking sector, how much do you know about the banking sector or the financial services sector? What are some of the challenges that they are facing there? How can you step, forward to kind of help them? I remember I joined an organization once, and at the very start, it was a temporary contract for 3 months. And once I walked into the organization, I knew that I wanted this job on a permanent basis. I completely loved the organization. And I remember the first day that I turned up to a management meeting, one of the outstanding tasks was that HR was meant to come up with a kind of what was it called? It was critical roles or pivotal roles map, for to kind of identify the roles that are critical within the organization and what they can do. And I said, and I took on that action. The action had been outstanding for 2 years. And when I joined, I delivered that action within 2 days. I sent it to the managing director, and the managing director said, fantastic, Joyce, send it around to all the managers. And that became the process the business used in managing, pivotal roles, identifying the roles that are critical to business delivery, what we needed to do, whether we needed to have successors and succession planning in place and all of that. But that's just to show you, once you begin, as you become developed in identifying and understanding the business needs, you will begin to pick signals from different places as to what is important to them. Okay, you begin to pick information about what is important to the business. And the more you pick this information, the more you're able to deliver yourself to, or to develop yourself to deliver them, the more you'll be seen as a valued partner and as a strategic partner to the business. Fantastic. Any questions? So yes, so David, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Fantastic. Thanks, David. Great. So Daniel, we couldn't hear you. I think you're in the studio, but for some reason I can't hear you. So I'll have to let that one go. Any questions before we close? So I'm mindful that this is lunchtime and people have probably got to go back to work. But I guess I will give you some sort of, whilst you're waiting for questions to come through, I'm going to give you a quick assignment or task, if you like. So one, I want you to do a reflection of your day-to-day activity today. And based on your understanding of your business, your business, the organization that you work for, I want you to think, do you believe that everything that you're doing today is really delivering the business strategy? And the second thing is, do you believe everything you're doing today makes you to become seen as a strategic partner? And by seen means, do they come to you for information? Do they listen to the advice, the insights, the input that you provide to your business? Okay, those are some of the signs that you get when you're becoming strategic. They want to hear from you. Okay, they want to know, oh, what does Joy think? What does ODJ think? What does Justina think? What does David think? What does Daniel think? What does Kolapo think? What does Chioma think? All of those sorts of things. What do you think they know? Would they come to you? Would you be the first person that they would think about when they have a challenge within the business? Those are some of the things that you begin to do, are some of the signs that say you're on the right track. And if you're not, that's perfect. Like I started off the webinar saying, I was giving a feedback many years ago that I wasn't strategic. And so I had to learn it. I had to become that person. And it's through some of the things that I've shared today. So Choma is asking, do you mind sharing the template for identifying talent you've developed for organization? Absolutely, I'll share that. So I was referring to critical skills mapping. It's a very simple, very fantastic model. I can share that. And this is some of the things that I'm going to maybe quickly close with, okay? I am my heart is very much in HR. I like to share knowledge. I've got a lot of experience that I believe HR people can benefit from. This is what I want. If you could share with me either through joy.adeyemi@hrdesignschool.com. I don't know if Kolapo or David is able to help me pin that. So that would be joy.adeyemi@hrdesignschool.com. If you could share, if you could put that in the comments, because for some reason I'm not able to do that. And if you send me an email about the things that you want to learn about, we have a platform like this that I can come on lunchtime, share. It would always be on there, so you can always listen to it. Like I said, there are free courses on our website. If you go on there, there's also a lot, and I've pinned the website address on there. If you go on there, you will see you can register for the free courses. And thanks, Kolapo. You can register for the free courses, and we would be able to kind of, support you and just sort of you begin to learn stuff. Because I realize the more you learn and expand your knowledge of HR and things that are not so HR, or things that a lot of HR organizations don't even talk about, like developing strategy. No, nobody teaches you how to design a strategy. Nobody teaches you how to how to come up and solve complex problems. These are the things that HR design school would be doing. So feel free, reach out to me. Most of the people on this live call, I met them through connection. Kolapor is one, and Kolapor has done a fantastic job of being my IT support today. And Shegun, fantastic. Thank you all so much, so much. It said the courses were closed. Don't worry, Temitayo. What I'm going to do today, I'll speak to the IT person. I think there are still some things that we need to tweak on there. Maybe that's the reason it's telling you that you can't register. You will be able to register for the 2 by close of work today. I would make sure that happens. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Daniel, I'm so sorry I couldn't bring you on to the live call. It would have been good to have some kind of another person on the video. But no, thank you so much, everybody. Don't forget to send me emails about some of the things you think we can talk about or you want me to share and other people to share. There's one of the ones I was thinking about to actually do a mock interview. And so bringing a HR professionals online, I'll ask them a question and they would provide answers. And we'll kind of pick it on from there and see. And then I will give live feedback about what maybe they can be doing better to, position themselves for the right role. Thank you all so much. Thanks, David. Thank you, Kolapor. Really appreciate. Thanks, Shegun, for supporting me with the IT kind of cock-ups today. I'm super excited to work with you. And yes, please connect with me. Follow HR Design School on LinkedIn. We just want to build that community a lot. And I'm looking to come to Nigeria at some point at the end of this year. So again, I'll be looking to connect with all my Nigerian friends. Have a fantastic day, everyone. Take care.